Okay, so we're looking at doing some formative quizzes over the next couple of days in the topics leading up to the assessment that this is related to. So the first questions are about Pythagoras, and then later on we're going to do a quiz about trigonometry and then about coordinate geometry. So you'll be pausing the tape as you go along. The first question is straightforward. Just label the hypotenuse on the following triangles. Pause, and when you're ready, come back live. Just label it with the letter X. Okay, here's the right angle, and the side opposite is the hypotenuse, so we'll just call that X. In the part B, here's the right angle, the side opposite is called the hypotenuse, so I've labelled that X. So that's the first question. If you can't label the hypotenuse, you just look for the right angle and then opposites. Okay, let's look at the next question. Okay, so for question 2, state the relationship between the sides. So I want an equation that relates the sides together. So pause, and then when you're ready, come back live. Okay, so in the first one, first thing you do is label the hypotenuse. So that's the hypotenuse, and so that's the longest side. So b squared equals a squared plus c squared. So that's the first one. In the second one, we go to the right angle. The side opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the longest side, so p squared equals n squared plus m squared, or vice versa. You could have the m first. The same in the first one, you could have the c first. In the last one, we don't have any labels on the sides, but we've got the vertices. So first thing you do is label the hypotenuse. And so the hypotenuse is that side, so that's bc squared, and that will equal the other two sides squared, ac squared plus ab squared. So it doesn't matter which order, but the hypotenuse is going first by itself. All right, so that's the second question. Let's move on. Okay, so now we're going to do some calculations using your calculator, obviously. You don't have to do this in your head. So we've got two missing sides. There's one there, and there's another one there. So I want you to have a go, and please note that these ones are to 2 decimal places. So pause, and when you're ready, come back live. Okay, first thing we do, label the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse is the longest side, so this must be a shorter side. The hypotenuse is the longest, so this one's shorter. So to get that one, we'll subtract. So 7 squared minus 3 squared. 49 minus 9 equals 40. And so x equals square root of 40, which is a third, or irrational. And I want 2 decimal places, so I'll square root 40. So that equals 6.32. And there's no units, so I'll just put U for units. Could be centimetres in the test. In the second one, the hypotenuse is what we're trying to find, so that's the longest side, so we have to add. So m squared will be 5 squared plus 2 squared, 25 plus 4, 29. So m equals the square root of 29, which is the exact answer, but I want a decimal answer, so I square root 29, and I get 5.385. I put in the extra place because we have to round, so it's going to be 5.39 units, whatever the units are. So I put in the extra place there just to show you that we had to round up. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so this next one is sort of a reasoning question. You're given numbers and you're asked to show calculations to show or prove that they are right angle triangles. So there's 3 triangles. I'll give you a clue. They're not all yes or they're not all no, so there's going to be some yeses and nos. So when you're ready, stop and come back live when you're ready. Okay, so that's the longest number. So that's the biggest number. So if it was going to be the hypotenuse, that would go first. So 13 squared would have to be the longest side because the other two sides are shorter. So we've got 5 squared plus 12 squared. On your calculator, 13 squared is 169, 25 and 149. When you add those together, you get 169 equals 169. So yes, this one is a right angle triangle because you've got equal sides. Let's have a look at the second one. Okay, if it was going to be right angle, that's the biggest side, so that would have to be the hypotenuse. So we're testing, does 6 squared equal 5 squared plus 2 squared? 6 squared is 36. 5 squared is 25. 4. And does 36 equal 29? The answer is no. No, it doesn't. So it's no. So it's no. And let's take a look at the last one. Okay, so on your calculator, just check what that number is, and you should find it's 1.414. So it's the longest side. So if it was longest side, it'd be the hypotenuse. So I put that as my first number squared equals 1 squared plus 1 squared. Now when you square a square root, you just get the number. 1 squared is 1, 1 squared is 1. Does 2 equal 2? Yes, it does. So this one is a yes. Okay. Let's move on. I think we've only got one more question to go. So this one's a bit of a harder problem. I've got a right angle triangle. I've got a right angle, so it's a right angle triangle. And I'm just trying to find this little bit over here. So it's not an easy problem, but it's something you need to be able to do. So when you're ready, pause and then come back live. Okay, so what we've got is just look at the big triangle. Look at the big shapes. You've got a 20, a right angle, an 8. And for the time being, let's just call this, okay, this side is going to be 7 plus x, but let's just call it another letter for the time being. Let's just call it y. So opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse. So this is going to be a shorter side, so we're going to subtract. So y squared will be 20 squared minus 8 squared. Now 20 squared on your calculator is 400. Minus 64 equals 336. So then you square root 336, and we want decimals, so we'll square root 336, and we get 18.33. Now what we do is we just go back and say, well, hang on, that y, so 7 plus x is actually equal to 18.3. Now I'll just lose, I won't worry about that second decimal place because the question just wants 1. So we've got this side 7 plus x equals the new number 18.3, and so we just subtract 7 from each side, and so x, the missing number, is 11.3 units. And I think that's the last of this videos. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that. There's obviously bookwork you can practice as well. Okay, thanks, see ya.